Right, so I'm here with Rich Cumbers, who was part of the team that put together the CurrentCost Live application at mashup. And he's going to talk me through what this is all about.
Okay, CurrentCost Live came about from obviously the CurrentCost meter. We were looking at how we could introduce a competitive element into saving electricity and the like. It's loosely based off of a leaderboard style system. So, for example, Xbox Live is a classic example where you have a specific number of points for a game, and then you can see how you're doing with that game against other people. Mm-hmm. So we did exactly the same sort of style system where you can have points for, say, the lowest electricity usage in the morning period. Right. So we specify a morning period between, say, 6 and 10, a day period between 10 and 4, and then we have an evening period. And associating game points for those particular times, and then calculating at the end of the day who used the least electricity over the whole day. Right. Just basically trying to work out small, how would you say, small parts, small sections of the day, large sections of the day where you can attribute points, and therefore then at the end of the day everyone comes together with a certain number of points and you can see how you compare.
So the idea was based off of, as you say, the kind of gaming Xbox 360 type leaderboards.
Yeah.
And how many people were involved in creating? Just you and Dale?
It was just myself and Dale. It took the initial idea took 24 hours of hacking at Matched 08. Mm-hmm. We used the Google Apps engine to store the data, and basically created Google Chart APIs to show sort of graphing.
Okay, so this is live on the internet at the moment, and we've got this CurrentCost Live website that we can have a quick look at. Yeah,
so it's a simple interface to the information. The actual data is uploaded by an application locally in Dale's house.
Right.
And then uploaded to the database. We're limited by the amount of bandwidth we can use on the Google API.
Right.
The Google Engine API, rather.
So what can I do here? I can just basically hit the leaderboard.
Exactly. You can look at the leaderboard. You can see how people are doing. So it's in a very basic form at the moment.
Right. Sure. And is a higher score good?
The higher the score, the better, because they've scored low in their. Sorry, they scored highly in using the least amount of electricity.
Right.
So, for example, their JT. I can't remember when it was last updated. I don't think it's currently live. If you
right, yeah, I understand. Yeah,
it's very much in the sort of development phase,
proof of concept stage.
Exactly. Right. You can see at how individual users go. So if you were to click on, say, JT there, you could see what here on the left-hand side here, breakfast, morning, lunch, afternoon, early evening, and night. They're the broken down areas that we've given it.
Yeah.
And sort of the lowest and highest and the total usage. And that's how we then generate a particular score, and you can see sort of the results for each game day below.
Right.
How they were doing, and in brackets where they came in terms of not where they came, the points.
Right.
So, for example,
how many points you score for that level of energy usage in that period? Right. Okay.
It's just basically a portal to see how much electricity you're using compared to your friends.
Well, I know that JT is pretty competitive about these kind of things, because when I've developed my own apps showing my CurrentCost data, he always goes on about how much I'm using. So
that competitive development. I mean, the beauty of the CurrentCost is that you don't necessarily need to do this. You can see from the CurrentCost meter that you're saving money or you're using quite a lot of electricity.
Right.
But this adds in that community of, well, hang on a second, JT has got 526 points there. I've only got 53, I believe, on there.
Right.
He's got 10 times the points. I want to be as good as him. It just helps you to...
So you're going to go and ask James for some power saving tips next.
Indeed. Possibly the first thing is to get rid of my electric storage heaters.
Right.
That would help.
So you were saying before we started looking at this, so that's one of your challenges with the electric storage heaters. I mean, how have you found, forgetting about the particular device we're using here for monitoring electricity usage, what are your particular challenges at home, and how have you been changing your behaviour over the last couple of months or years?
So when I first got my meter, I was looking at the graph that I was producing by myself, looking at the data, and I saw, for example, that at 2 o'clock, my energy usage spiked from 0.0 1 kilowatts to suddenly 4.5 kilowatts.
Right.
And so very quickly I realised, well, something's happening in my house. I then phoned my electricity company, and I've since found out that between the hours of 2 and 4, I have a cheap rate of electricity for my storage heaters.
Oh, right, okay.
So I without sort of discussing with the electricity company exactly what my tariff was, I would maybe have turned my storage heaters off. So it's allowed me to continue using that at a lower rate, which has saved me money. Simple things like if you go to the kitchen, turning the iron off.
Right.
That, an iron, you just think, oh, well, I need to iron my clothes. But if it's 2.5 kilowatts at times. So if you turn it off when you disappear to make a cup of tea, instead of just leaving it standing there, just having it in front of you. So when you've got the information, you're using 3 kilowatts. Well, why am I using 3 kilowatts? It makes you very quickly think, well, okay, maybe the tumble dryer's on and it doesn't need to be anymore, for example. I use it quite a lot, the tumble dryer, quite at night. And one of the really cool things is that I can tell when it's finished. It's actually out in the garage, my tumble dryer.
Right.
But I can see from my meter when it drops from 3.5 kilowatts to 0.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time, I can say, well, I need to go out and collect my washing.
So, Google have announced this power meter project today, and it looks like this kind of stuff is growing in popularity. Do you think it's all just about home energy efficiency, or is there something wider going on here? Or putting me on the spot so I can tell you I was going to ask you all these questions. I'm just chatting.
Sure. No. I think business. CurrentCost, or what Dr. Watson that we also spoke about earlier. At the end of the day, they're all about first and foremost for people saving money.
Yeah.
Current economic climate, obviously, very sort of very constrained in budgets and things, and any way you can save money is both home and at work is a bonus.
Yeah.
And that is where I think that the beauty of these monitoring devices is it can show you how you can actively save money. And I think that applies exactly the same to businesses. With here at IBM, for example, we're doing this green initiative where we're trying to turn off as many unused desktop machines and sort of gridiron in the machines down in the DPMR.
Yeah.
We're trying to sort of actively reduce our current costs. Now, I'm not saying that we could necessarily clamp a meter to our Hursley power station because that would be enormous, but by us just reducing the amount of desktops we have, we will save IBM money, and therefore we will be able to spend that money on producing a new product, for example.
Right.
So
in fact, coming up with better technology for helping to reduce this kind of
exactly
energy usage in the future.
And it's even more important, I think, for the smaller companies. Where am I spending money?
Yeah.
And if you can find out maybe over a period of a week, well, when's my most energy usage occurring, you can maybe go back to your electricity company in the first instance and say, look, I think I would be better on this plan because of these reasons.
So it's not just about what we're saying. I guess it's not just about us as individuals, and it's important for all of us as individuals to be more environmentally aware and also to reduce our own costs because of the economic climate, but also for businesses, corporations, governments. I mean, it scales up.
Definitely.
And down.
Definitely. For me, the first and foremost is the cost element for people, because that's putting money back in people's pockets, and that's the thing that's going to drive them. Saving the planet is such a woolly and large concept that people think that just by switching off a light, they're not going to make much of a difference.
Right.
Well, if you turn that switching a light off to turning 4 halogen lights off, which cost you 100 watts an hour.
Yes. Yeah.
And that will cost you X amount a year if you were just to leave that light on, then people start understanding, and through saving money, they're actually also helping towards sort of the environment. So I see that tact as being the best way to go.
Okay, brilliant.
Cool.
Thank you very much for your time.
No problems. Thank you.